Welcome to the Monday, August 24, 2020, 6 p.m. regular meeting of the Bell Garden City Council. The meeting will now come to order. Pursuant to Executive Order N2920, please be advised that the members of the Bell Garden City Council will participate in today's meeting telephonically. Council members and staff are participating from remote locations. Members of the public may view and listen to the meeting live online through the city's website as noted on the agenda. Conflict of interest or recusal. If any agency members should have a conflict of interest virtually, please leave the room by turning off video and muting yourself. You may still keep listening to the meeting. Tonight's Pledge of Allegiance will be led by our Chief of Police, Scott Fairfield.
Please stand. Place your right hand over your heart. Repeat after me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Chief. City Clerk, will you please call roll of the City Council?
Yes, Mayor. Councilmember Acetuno is excused. Councilmember Barcena?
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Flores?
Present.
And Mayor Cortez?
Present. City Attorney, will you please give the closed session report? City Attorney?
Hello? Hello?
Yes, City Attorney, we can hear you now.
Oh, okay, great. Thank you. Madam Mayor, members of the City Council, the record should reflect that the City Council recessed in the closed session, all members being present with the exception of Councilmember Acetuno, who is excused from tonight's meeting to discuss the 4 items posted on tonight's agenda. With respect to all 4 items, the City Council received brief updates, but no final action was taken tonight in closed session on any items. Thank you.
Thank you, City Attorney. City Manager, will you please announce the presentation for tonight?
Thank you, Mayor Cortez. We have a proclamation in honor of the 100th anniversary of the 19th Amendment to the United States Constitution. This occurred last week and was the 100th anniversary of the amendment that allowed women to vote.
Thank you, City Manager. So I will go ahead and present this proclamation today. The City of Bell Gardens Proclamation, a proclamation in honor of the 100th anniversary of the 19th Amendment to the United States Constitution. Whereas the bold, courageous, and powerful women who fought for the ratification of the 19th Amendment to the United States Constitution on August 18, 1920, deserve a special celebration by the City of Bell Gardens, especially on the 100th anniversary of its ratification in 2020. And whereas California was the 18th state to ratify the 19th Amendment on November 1st, 1919. And whereas California holds a special place in women's suffrage history as thousands of California women advocated for the right to vote on the streets, in the newspapers, in the state capitol, and throughout the great state. And California women gained the right to vote with the passage of Amendment 8 to the state constitution in 1911, nearly a decade before women voted nationally. And the 19th Amendment did not guarantee suffrage for all women, including Native Americans who did not gain the right to vote until 1924. For Asian Pacific Islander Americans, it was 1952. African American and Latin Americans suffered voter suppression until the passage of the Voting Rights Act of 1965 and 1975. And currently, 2 women sit on the Bell Gardens City Council, reflecting the fact that today women are active in local, state, national government and are running for office in unprecedented numbers, reminding us that we all follow in the footsteps of these resolute American suffragists, and the 19th Amendment to the United States Constitution has played an important role in advancing the right of all women. Now, therefore, let it be resolved that I, Alejandra Cortez, Mayor for the City of Bell Gardens, with the City Council, do hereby proclaim and recommend that the Bell Gardens residents celebrate the 100th anniversary of the passage and ratification of the 19th Amendment, providing for women's suffrage to the Constitution of the United States, honor the role of the ratification of the 19th Amendment, and further promoting the core values of our democracy as promised by the Constitution of the United States. Reaffirm the opportunity for students and adults in the country to learn about and commemorate the efforts of the women's suffrage movement and the role of women in our democracy, and reaffirm our desire to continue to strengthen the democratic participation and to inspire future generations to cherish and preserve the historic precedent established under the 19th Amendment. Proclaim this 24th day of August, 2020. And with this, I would like to also petition for our beautiful audience to honor this proclamation by voting this November.
In the honor of the proclamation you just read aloud, I think people should know that right now we have a female congresswoman, a female senator, a female assemblywoman, a female LA County supervisor, a female mayor, and a female vice mayor.
Yes, thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Okay, moving on to public participation on agenda items only. City Clerk, do we have any speakers?
We have one WebEx participant and 2 speakers that have requested to be called in. The members of the public will now have the opportunity to speak on the item listed on the City Council meeting agenda. Please state your name for the record before addressing your comments to the mayor and council members. Each speaker and email reading is limited to 3 minutes, subject to an overall 30-minute time period. Email comments will be read out loud after all speakers have been heard. I'll begin with the WebEx speaker. You have 3 minutes to speak.
What's his name?
Oh, I'm sorry. His name is Mike Salazar. He's muted.
How about now? There we go. Good afternoon, City Council.
Yes, we can hear
members
you.
of the audience. We would like to take the time to talk about item number 10 on the agenda, which has the payment period of 3 months for anybody that has a commercial property. I feel here in the city, a lot of these businesses are really struggling to make ends meet. And we would like to see if that moratorium could be pushed back to 12 months as opposed to 3 months. Now, a lot of our businesses have been asked to close because of health concerns, and a lot of our businesses have complied. Pretty much everybody has complied. But to add that burden of having somebody pay either 5 or 6 months worth of past due rent within that short amount of period is very detrimental to our businesses. If we look around what's in our city right now, we have a lot of businesses that are either for sale or for lease. So this would give our business community a fighting chance to be able to weather this storm that we're through. And that concludes my comments. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Jose Jimenez, and I'll go ahead and place that call.
Hello?
Hello, is this Jose Jimenez?
Yes, that's him.
Now,
Alexa, stop.
This is Jane Halstead, City Clerk for the City of Bell Gardens. You're before the council, so you have 3 minutes to speak. Go ahead and state your name and then proceed with your comments.
Yeah, my name is Jose Jimenez, and I'm the CEO and founder of the Organization for the Physically Impaired. And we are members of the Chamber of Commerce and Bell Gardens. And we are in favor of this chamber because we receive a lot of support from the director, Mike Salazar, and the rest of the members, and what we do as physically impaired, and receiving the support of media and receiving support of networking. And even when they used to have the facility, we got very reasonable prices to use the facility and our meeting, to use it as for our general meetings. And that gave us an opportunity to bring members and discuss our needs and how to work with the community. And we received this support for about close to 4 years. And we grow as an organization, and we learned from the community also. And we really lost the opportunity to meet before the pandemic, and because the foundation decided to sell the property, and we have no opportunity to meet on that facility again. And that is a loss for us and the Organization for the Physically Impaired. And I believe we need another place where we can do our business as a business community, as an organization at all, or an organization to provide services for our sector, which is the physically impaired. Thank you so much for the opportunity to speak on behalf of the Organization for the Physically Impaired and on behalf of the members of the Bell Gardens Chamber of Commerce. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Have a good evening.
You do the same. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye. The next speaker is Juan Marin.
Hello?
Hello, is this Juan Marin?
Yes, it is.
This is Jane Halstead, City Clerk for the City of Bell
Hello.
Gardens. I'm calling you so you can give your your comments to the City Council. So
Sure.
please announce your name and state your comments. You have 3 minutes to speak.
Hello, my name is Juan Daniel Marin. I am a small business owner of 2 businesses here in Bell Gardens. Firstly, I would like to state my support for the continuation of funds for the Small Chamber of Commerce, Small Business Chamber of Commerce of Bell Gardens. Secondly, I would like to state the support for the moratorium for item number 10 to be transitioned into a 3-month period into a 12-month period. I sent basically an addendum, a request for it to be approved, exemplifying this, and this is and the reason why I request that is because as a person who has already faced homelessness by having the loss of his businesses and of his family businesses and home back in 2013 due to medical conditions and economic hardships, I really do not want to face the same thing again. And especially, I'm not asking for to not pay. What I would love for it to happen is for me to have a fighting chance to be able to have time to be able to repay what is owed. And even in the documents that I sent to the City Council, It demonstrates the high amount that it would be if it is maintained as is, as where if it's extended to 12 months, it's a more reasonable and a more doable, especially in this uncertain time. We really do need the Bell Gardens City Council to be able to help save our businesses. And like me, when I reside in residential and commercial, if I lose my businesses, I will also lose my home. So I really do need the support to be able to do not have the same thing that happened to me in 2013 happen again. And especially as a head of household aside, it's really crucial that all these years of work that I worked hard to be able to recover and retrain some of that fight and some of that, the ability to have your own business to not be lost by something that was out of my hands. So I really do hope that the City Council can pass my request for the addendum, extending the 3 months into 12 months, because it's just such a terrible timing, and it would be I would be very grateful if it's able to be done so. And everything is spread in detail when in the documents that I sent.
Okay. Thank you for your comments, sir.
Thank you.
Have a good evening.
Likewise.
Bye-bye. That concludes the speakers that we're going to call. We do have 14 emails, public comments. 14.
Clock for 2 minutes each.
2 minutes each?
Yes, please. And I'll go ahead and read them.
Okay, let me set the clock.
Good morning, Madam Halstead. Allow me to comment on the excellent business opportunities and network capabilities of today's Bell Gardens Chamber. I am humbled to say that I served as president of the Chamber in 1999, and we have come a long way through the progressive leadership of Michael Salazar and Executive Director Susan Smith as president. These are a few observations. Hosted several business ribbon cuttings, complete with the website assistance, held many business training seminars for all members and guests, excellent fundraising to include valuable partnerships with the Bicycle Casino and its employees, supported all city seasonal events with the community holidays, Mother's Day, and distribution of backpacks for back to school, provides online advertisement to business and introduces them to neighboring cities. Please consider favorable support to this agency, much needed by the businesses community and in positive influence to the Bell Gardens High School campus. I would appreciate that the statement be read at the next council meeting. Robert Rubio, from Chamber Ambassador from Rose Hills Memorial Park. This is from Chris. He's the president of LTH Logistics. Good evening, members of the audience of the Bell Gardens City Council. My name is Chris, and I'm not going to, Chris T, with LTH Logistics in the city of Bell. And I am a member of the Chamber of Commerce for the 4 years. The Chamber is a key part of my business due to the fact that I export goods outside of the United States. I have to complete between 6 to 15 certificates of origin done on a weekly basis. The Chamber of Commerce has worked with my business to accommodate my busy schedule. I have my employee come to the office to get this done. There are times when Mike Salazar has come to my office to accommodate my schedule without charge. I would like to express my support for the Bell Gardens Chamber of Commerce and would hope that the Bell Gardens City Council will continue to do so, especially during these challenging times. Our small business community depends on these low cost to no cost services. Thank you. The next email is from Laura Cortez. Good evening, Council. I would like to request the Council to modify the existing commercial eviction moratorium to include the addendum made by the small business owner, Mr. Juan Marin. Mr. Marin's small business has been suffering because of COVID-19. Not only this, but has continuously been harassed by their corporate landlord. This is not an isolated incident. Many small businesses who are central to the fabric of Bell Gardens are experiencing hardship and need the city's support. To pass this addendum allowing small businesses to have 12 months to pay back the added cost of not having businesses due to COVID-19. This is an important moment for the council to demonstrate their support of the community. Thank you, Laura Cortez. This is from Yahaira Covarrubias from Park Lane Jewelry. To whom I may concern, my name is Yahaira Covarrubias, a resident of Bell Gardens since 2017. I started my direct sales business with Park Lane Jewelry January 1st, 2018. My beginnings, like any business, were tough, just getting out there and branding myself. It was in May of 2018, I attended the city event at the Bicycle Club Hotel and Casino, where I was introduced to Mike Salazar, and with him, the Bell Gardens Chamber of Commerce. I immediately became a member after I saw that the chamber can provide for my type of business, and I am a proud supporter since then. I can proudly say that thanks to Chamber and Mike, my business began to blossom. I have participated in supported city events such as Bell Gardens High School Homecoming, State and City Address, Mother's Day Lunch, and other events that the Chamber has helped us put together. Because of COVID-19, many businesses are hurting, but the Chamber is still meeting virtually every Wednesday at 10 a.m. I have personally sent out Mayor Alejandra Cortez and Mayor Pro Tem Lisette Flores a weekly reminder the past 2 weeks, so I'm sure both are aware that we are still meeting virtually via Zoom. It is thanks to these virtual meetings I am able to meet new faces and offer my services before I therefore continue to help to provide some of the income my family desperately needs during this time. Again, I am grateful for what Mike Salazar and the Bell Gardens Chamber of Commerce has done for my business. The next email is from Jay, Director, Independent Representative from Legal Shield. Hello, my name is Jay. Many people may know me as a Turbinator. I have been a member of the Bell Gardens Chamber for many years and immediate past president of the Rio Hondo Vernon Rotary Club. I have been a sponsor, Bell Gardens Chamber events, or donated to many causes for Bell Gardens residents. The Chamber of Commerce has been instrumental in allowing us to do charitable work in your community, as well as being a great place to connect with many local business owners. I have been able to work with Mike to establish the weekly event called Coffee Connections that has been going strong even during the pandemic. We have been able to get things done with the leadership of the Chamber of Commerce and our Rotary Club because of Mike Salazar. He is a great asset to this community, and I would like to express my support for the Chamber of Commerce to be fully funded as done in years past. I've had the luxury of seeing how other cities run their chambers of commerce, and I can say that you have a very great director that has had an excellent work ethic and willingness to go above and beyond for its members. It is very important for a small business to have an organization that keeps ownership of a situation and see it through the end. I can be reached at the telephone number below for further information. The next one is from Ernesto B. Palacios, Sales Office Manager for State Farm. To whom I may concern, as a member and as an ambassador of the Bell Gardens Chamber, I believe we should still support the Bell Gardens Chamber. We promote businesses and provide them with resources from the city of Bell Gardens. Also, answer questions they might have. Taking away funding from the Bell Gardens Chamber will hurt businesses in the city. It provides other businesses learn about businesses in Bell Gardens by doing events with other chambers around the city of Bell Gardens. Thank you and stay safe. The next one is from Dave Halam. Hello, my name is Dave, the owner of HHH Commercial General Builders. I would like to say that Mike Salazar is one of the best chamber directors that I've seen in the years, and I've been a member of various chambers for over 20 years. The chambers that I've been around have always kept the referring in the house, which is good to a point, but Mike goes one step further by reaching out to other cities to connect me right to the partner for my business. Many chamber just refer stuff to the city for the business owner to figure out. Mike takes the extra step for the members to personally walk us through the difficult situations. I have noticed that he not only does this for business owners, but residents as well, as he saves the city time and money and makes the city of Bell Gardens more appealing. This is key to being labeled as a business-friendly city and people-friendly. Once the COVID-19 pandemic hit, Mike took a proactive approach to help my business to ensure that I had up-to-date information. I frequently attend the Coffee Connection meetings online, and I can say that I was able to connect with many potential clients I normally would have access to due to the stay-at-home order. I would like the City Council to continue support of the Bell Gardens Chamber of Commerce. You truly have a hidden gem in your city. The next one is from Francina Ayala. My name is Francina Ayala, and although I'm not a resident of Bell Gardens, I'm a business member of the Bell Gardens Chamber. I have personally partnered with Mike Salazar to create social events for businesses within the community of Bell Gardens. I was an ambassador to the Commerce Industrial Council for 13 years and have since then joined the Bell Gardens Chamber back in 2016 because of the work ethic and perseverance that Mike Salazar has had for the community and businesses as well. I have built many relationships due to the chamber events and hope you stand behind your business leaders to continue. Because of COVID-19, many businesses are hurting, but the chamber is still meeting virtually every Wednesday at 10 a.m. The chamber has personally sent Mayor Alejandra Cortez and Mayor Pro Tem Lizette Flores a weekly reminder of the past 2 weeks. So I'm sure they're both aware that we're still meeting virtually via Zoom. It is thanks to these virtual meetings that I'm able to meet new faces and to offer my services, therefore to continue to help to provide some of the income for that my family desperately needs during this time. Again, I am very grateful for Mike Salazar and the Bell Gardens Chamber of Commerce has done for my business, and I ask that the city keep supporting Mike and the Chamber of Commerce. My name is Ana Robles. I was recently introduced to Mike Salazar and the Bell Gardens Chamber of Commerce by Yahara Covarrubias. I do not live in the city of Bell Gardens. However, as an entrepreneur, I own several businesses that I have built strictly 100% from networking. Defunding such an important department of the city will not only hurt the current residents, but also future businesses in the near future. Due to COVID-19, many businesses are closing. They need support that a Chamber of Commerce could offer to the business community in general. One way to help our communities is to support our small business owner. Being able to still meet virtually on a weekly basis is one way to ensure our business community still has the support to continue its growth. Our economy depends on this type of support, especially in our Latino-based communities. I urge you to reconsider and allow the business owner to pivot and continue to grow. As a business mindset coach, I have had the opportunity to share some powerful information. I will share with you one of the things that I shared during my presentation. Think about what happened during the Great Depression. So many people suffered from financial distress, yet the greatest number of millionaires emerged during this time of devastation in history. COVID-19 is not different from what happened during the Great Depression. Think about it. We have learned and we could support one another. We need your support to make the difference. Dear Bell Gardens City Council, this is Irene Hatcher. Many of you know me as Mike Salazar's fiance, but what many of you might not know is that I have worked in the city of Bell Gardens for going on 14 years now. I have seen people come and go make promises to the people of the city, and many of the things promised never become a reality to the community. Due to COVID, many businesses on Eastern have closed down and vacated. The Bicycle Club Casino, which is a huge business drive for the city, is at a halt due to the governor's orders. This means we really need to rely on small businesses. These mom and pop shops are just as vital as corporate businesses. These shops are what make Bell Gardens unique. People travel from all over the place to visit my place of employment because we are the best, and I take pride in that. I love this city just as much as the residents do. I believe that Bell Gardens Chamber is a vital source for local businesses to reference to. This is as much needed resource that I hope you consider to keep. Here is some insight on the personal side of things. No matter what you decide today, will change what a hardworking, determined, and dedicated, honest, and loyal worker Mike Salazar is. Mike loves his job and is so passionate when it comes to his work. When people are in need of help, he drops what he is doing to help out regardless of the time of day without expecting any compensation. He does it out of pure passion. You rarely get that in the work ethic these days. Many of you who have worked with him can relate to that, and I have said, and those who have shut the door in his face and bad-mouthed him to others, may God bless you with kindness. Mike, as many of you members of the council have the same vision for the city to make it better. I hope you decide in favor of renewing the chamber contract and continue to strive for success in making the city better. I appreciate your time. Respectfully, Irene Hatcher. To whom it may concern, I would like to take this time to urge the council to continue their support to the Bell Gardens Chamber. The Chamber remains at the heart of Bell Gardens by providing resources for business owners, citizens, and students. They do this by providing online and in-person programs that allow businesses to connect as well as to promote small businesses within their community. The Chamber keeps the community informed in a time of crisis such as the pandemic we are going through now. They keep business owners informed of the responsibilities to maintain a safe work environment for their employees and customers. The Chamber connects businesses so that they can create partnerships and make businesses stronger. Business owners feel they have a safe place to talk about their challenges, strategize, and leverage partnerships. Mike Salazar has created forums in which the conversations can still take place. The chambers was where business owners go to first and the latest information regarding compliance and labor laws for their business. The leadership the chamber has overcome the challenges that the COVID pandemic has brought to our community. Mike Salazar quickly stepped up to those challenges and created an online and virtual programs that continues to keep our community connected. I strongly believe that cutting the funding for the chamber will be detrimental to the community of Bell Gardens, and I encourage the city to continue to support this vital part of Bell Gardens. The next one's from Cristina Paulo. My name is Cristina Paulo, longtime resident. My comment is on the agenda item related to the authorization for bids for fence project at Veterans Park. I understand the city had already allocated $35,000 towards this project for the 2020-2021 fiscal year. However, as a resident, I feel project priorities should be reassessed. The engineer has estimated a cost of $24,000 approximately. However, with the pandemic and the closures of the parks, there's no telling when the baseball field will see children, teens using it again. I think the city should reconsider reallocating those funds to a project that is more essential to the operational needs of the city while benefiting its residents. The park hasn't had a fence the entire time I've resided in the city, and my family has been here since 1979. What is the urgency to get it constructed now? Thank you for this opportunity. My name is Jason Vasquez. I'm a Long Life resident and proud to say that Bell Gardens is my home. I'm a small business owner and I come today in support of the Bell Gardens Chamber of Commerce. Running a business is wild and unpredictable, but when you can count on this organization for guidance and support, it brings peace of mind and helps you stay on track. This chamber has opened many doors for me and has introduced me to a series of network building events that have helped my business grow. The people running this operation are very passionate about helping and supporting the community and are always there to go the extra mile for you. And for that, I'm very grateful. With the Bell Gardens Chamber of Commerce and its leaders, Mike Salazar and Susan Smith, I know that our business will continue to generate strong relationships so that we can grow. Thank you for your time. Let's keep BG moving forward. And this is Jason Vasquez from Jason Custom T-shirts. Okay. Hello, my name is Vavan, and I have been a member and ambassador with the Bell Gardens Chamber of Commerce since 2013. I truly think that the Chamber of Commerce deserves funding and support from the city because of what the Chamber has done. For me personally, being a Chamber member with 4 different Chamber of Commerce outside of Bell Gardens, I have found out that every single chamber I belong to, Mike Salazar and the Bell Gardens Chamber go above and beyond to support their members in the community. As a result of my involvement with the chamber, not only has my business grown tremendously, but my confidence has grown. My public speaking skills have grown, my knowledge and insight on business in general through the workshops from the chamber has grown. Mike has made himself available time and time again to help any of the businesses that come to him for help. Anytime there was a networking breakfast or a coffee and a conversation mixer, I have been there as the MC for the event, and in doing that, over the course of the last several years, it has grown my public speaking skills and events unrelated to the chamber. Mike, as a chamber director, focuses on the people skills and potential that he sees within them and helps them grow those areas even more. and in any area of my life or business that I feel I am weak in, Mike goes out of his way utilizing his chamber directory to help me find a chamber member that can help me improve on those weaknesses. I believe without a shadow of a doubt that the Bell Gardens Chamber of Commerce has given more support to the small businesses than any other chamber I have been a part of. Mike doesn't just run the chamber as an organization that only cares for a profit, but he makes the chamber members feel at ease and at a home when we attend his events. He does not put on a facade whatsoever. If Mike says that the chamber is going to do something, the chamber makes it happen no matter what. Mike is the only chamber director I know that will take a member of the chamber and walk them around the community Bell Gardens, introducing them to the other chamber members. Most chambers will give you a directory and have you call them on your own. If a chamber member of the Bell Gardens Chamber of Commerce goes to Mike asking, and with that, that concludes our emails. At this point, I'm going to go ahead and close public participation for agenda items. And we're going to go ahead and move on to the city manager report. City manager, will you please give your report?
Thank you, Mayor Cortez. I'd just like to remind everybody that the census time is drawing near as far as being able to complete your census. The city is currently at 62%, while the statewide response is at 66%. So we still have work to do. This Wednesday, there will be another census caravan that's going to be targeting some of the harder to reach neighborhoods from around 4:30 p.m. till around 8 p.m. Will be primarily between Eastern and Garfield, and then from Gage on southward. So for any residents that are listening, if you hear any music and cool people getting in and out of their car handing you census information, please come out and let us talk to you, and we'll give you some information if you could please fill out your census. Thank you, Mayor Cortez.
Thank you, city manager. We're now moving on to the consent calendar. If any members of the council wish to pull any items from the consent calendar, this would be the time. Hearing none, I'll go ahead and move to approve the consent calendar. May I have a second?
I'll go ahead and second that.
Thank you, and I'll take it to a roll call now. Mayor Pro Tem?
Yes.
Councilmember Barcena?
Yes.
And yes for myself as well, so the consent calendar carries. City manager, moving on to the first discussion item.
Thanks again, Mayor Cortez. So this item seeks council approval of the Bell Gardens Scholarship Program criteria. As you remember earlier this month, staff recommended that $75,000 of the community benefit funding, that was about $400,000, that it be used to award scholarships to residents of Bell Gardens that are either in community college, university, trade, vocational school. And so what's being recommended is criteria that will allow for $500 scholarships to 150 residents. And I will turn it over to our Recreation Community Services Director to talk about the criteria that would be used to allocate and actually pay people for these tuition amounts.
Sorry about that. I hit the wrong button. Thank you, City Manager. Mayor and City Council, the report before you is some recommendations that staff is made in how to allocate the $75,000 to award students that currently reside in the city of Bell Gardens. We understand that the council has made education and the successfulness of our students to succeed in education a high priority. So we're recommending that $500 be allocated to a individual who has maintained at least a 2.5 grade point average. I understand that there might be some other recommendations along with that, and so we can tailor this program to whatever priorities the council would like to recommend. But we are recommending that $250 be allocated here in the next 30 days. And then the remaining balance would be submitted upon receipt of grade verification and registration for the second semester. Anybody who is attending either community college, university, or trade school is eligible. They must bring proof of residency in the city of Bell Gardens, and they can submit an application either online, or we have them available at the Community Family Resource Center at Veterans Park. Because we're not sure how many applications we would receive, we're recommending that it would be very similar to how the rental allocations went, is through a lottery to be conducted through at City Hall live and in that format. And at this time, I would entertain recommendations or alternates to how this program would be run.
Thank you so much, Roseanne, for the detailed information. What I do want to talk about is a couple of things. I know that there's a lot to look at here, and I just feel that we can potentially be discriminative of other populations. For instance, I do believe that we should be a little bit more flexible with the way that we want to give this out. You know, giving our city, we know that the socioeconomic status in Bell Gardens is very challenging and does prevent many students from being able to pursue a higher education. And for those reasons, I believe that we should wipe out the GPA requirement, or see if there's a way that we can lower it. For instance, if I'm a special needs student, it's actually discriminatory for you to look at me based on my GPA, right? And unless we write, hey, I have a disability, don't judge me on my GPA, which is also kind of discriminatory as well, right? So we should look into being more aware of our populations and making sure that we do not discredit the merit or efforts of a C average student versus someone who's higher. Doesn't mean that just because I have a lower grade that I didn't try just as hard as someone who did. And it's just that maybe my challenges were a little different, and we should make it easy. I know that maybe we all have different views on different agendas, but I think fundamentally we want to help our community. And we should do that by not creating hurdles. Hurdles in life already exist, and it's not a big amount, but it's something that people can benefit from. So we should make it as flexible as possible. Another thing I wanted to, one question, why are we splitting it in two halves, the money? Well done.
Again, that was just a staff recommendation. We can, whatever the pleasure of council is. One of the reasons is we wanted to ensure that the student was proceeding with their education instead of taking it in a lump sum and then possibly dropping out. So there was that consideration that maybe if they had to come back with proof that they were registering for the second semester. But again, this is all at the pleasure of council, whatever council would like to move forward with.
Thank you. I also think that maybe we should review a lot of the things. For one, I'm not too crazy about the proof of registration. For one, if I'm sorry, the full-time student. If I'm a 47-year-old man or a 19-year-old kid who needs to provide for his family and work full-time, I may or may not have the time to be a full-time student. So maybe a part-time student would be more feasible and more attainable for our residents. And that would also be my recommendation. And I think I'll open the floor for my colleagues to see if maybe, we can think of other ways to help our students.
Hi. Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor and Madam Mayor Pro Tem. I just have a question in regards to the proof of registration that Mayor Pro Tem mentioned. Is this a requirement for the student to be full-time enrolled?
Councilman Barcena, we actually were also entertaining that if a student was at least half-time or three-quarter time, which means 6 units, 9 units, that would also qualify. But again, it's at the pleasure of council. If they would like, if you would like to make a recommendation as to lowering the requirement, yes, we do have a number of working students that possibly work full-time and go to school part-time. And we also have full-time students that don't work. So it's a little difficult trying to put everybody in one box because I don't think everybody qualifies to be in a box. So we can make this as flexible as the council would like to see.
Thank you for that. Another question that I have is, have there been any thoughts in relation to accommodating those students that are special needs or that might need special consideration in the application of this scholarship?
As far as assistance to complete the application, yes, we're available to assist residents if they have special needs in applying for it. We can also ask maybe that in the application form to include that so that there would be some consideration so that we're not exactly eliminating a student from participating if possibly they have a 2.0 or 2.25 grade point average. But again, as Mayor Pro Tem mentioned, that sometimes when individuals are challenged because of special needs, their grade point average might not be reflective of their effort that they are putting in to actually continue their educational pursuits. So again, we can take that into consideration and maybe through the lottery, maybe separate those and kind of make some concessions and do a lottery based on that need. So we can kind of tier it, making a certain lottery for those that are in an upper GPA as well as a lower GPA. So we can kind of take care of everybody and in the middle. So again,
before you continue, I believe that the Americans Disability Act doesn't allow us to ask if they have a disability. So that would be discriminatory in itself. If I'm not mistaken.
You are correct, but I think people can add comment if they want to anything to elaborate as to the GPA or those type of things. So again, it's very difficult for us to measure because you might have a person, an individual who has a 2.5, 2.75, but they're working full time. And so there's a consideration there. So again, it's at the pleasure of council. We will take whatever direction and make this work. We just see this as a great opportunity to reward individuals who are continuing their education.
Okay, I have a suggestion. Hopefully, this is something that the rest of the council will agree on. But what I think we can do is allow someone to waive the GPA requirement, given that they provide an explanation whether they have a disability or if they suffer from certain challenges that they're willing to ask for that consideration. So I see that as a way to work around that there's an option to ask for that requirement to be waived, a 2.5. It is a 2.5 GPA requirement, correct?
Yes, we put that in there just as a reference point, yes.
And is that equivalent to a C average, or what is that equivalent to?
That's a C plus. A 2.0 is C
average.
Mm-hmm.
C average. A 2.5 is usually like a C plus average.
Okay, so I would like to make a motion because I do feel that there is a point to be made in regards to opening this opportunity up to really all of our residents. So the motion is to move forward with this scholarship opportunity with the option of residents being able to ask for that requirement to be waived, given they provide an explanation, whether it's in regards to a disability or any other reason why they may not meet that requirement. And in addition to that, I would like to add to the motion, I know that there are 150 grants that are going to be given, 150 scholarships that will be given. Because I do want to acknowledge that segment of the population that goes out of their way to make sure that they excel in their school activities. They are part of our residents, and we should also keep them in mind. So out of those 150, I would like to take a small portion, only 20 of those, and automatically give them to those students that have the top GPA. Again, only 20 of those. There will be 130 that will be done in a lottery based, but I think it's always a great idea to acknowledge the hard work of those individuals that prioritize school as a very important element in their lives. So I want to acknowledge them, and I want to give them a little bit of recognition in that way. So that's my motion there, to allow those 20 out of the 150, only 20 to give them to be awarded the scholarship, and also to allow the 2.5 GPA requirement to be waived based on a disability or any other hardship that they deem is appropriate.
Yes, I think that's a great idea, Councilmember Barcena, to be able to provide that waiver, because we don't know what the situation is going to look like in the next semester. I mean, it could worsen, and these students might need a waiver for multiple reasons. So I think without specifying just a waiver in general, for them to just submit something as to why they want the waiver to receive the final 250. And at that point, I think we can just evaluate on a case-by-case basis. That way we don't jump those thresholds. I think, keeping a GPA is not adding another roadblock to our community, but rather helping to motivate them. Our students are going to lack motivation this upcoming fall, especially those at different universities or programs, because it's not the same, especially for our incoming freshmen. They're going to be at home through Zoom University, and it gets very, very hard to just be in front of a screen and to feel that motivation. So perhaps this will help to motivate them. So I would really love to second that motion that Councilmember Barcena put forward, also acknowledging the top 20 students with the highest GPA to be automatically awarded, and the rest to be placed in that lottery. I think that's a great suggestion.
I think that's a suggestion. I want to make the scholarship as successful as possible. So I want to try and give out on a need-based scholarship instead of a merit-based scholarship. I think that we should really just waive the GPA altogether, or at least have the option to waive it for all of them and just require proof of registration. I'm not so, and then we should make it for part-timers, not just full-timers. Again, to remove people who are only part-time students and not give them the opportunity to succeed and get those $500, I think it is discriminatory. Like I said, a lot of us work. The social economic status in Bell Gardens is very challenging, and we have to act like we know that. So requiring them to have them full-time students, I think should be completely thrown out and created for it to be part-time. I do want to award those who have, the opportunity to focus on school and nothing else and have a high GPA. I think that they should also be rewarded. I'm okay with that. But how are we going to compare the GPAs between a college student and a high school student? To attain a GPA in high school and a high GPA in university are two different challenges, right? So we have to be careful of how we merit those and decide who's worthy of what. So for those reasons, I do believe that we should make this on a lottery base with proof of registration, and maybe they could submit a personal statement, and based on that we can move forward. But I don't think that we should devalue the merit or hard work of our students based on a letter grade.
Mayor Pro Tem, I'd like to answer one of your comments. The 20 the 20 awardees that I proposed, 10 will be based on a college GPA and 10 will be based on a high school GPA.
That's
So
good.
that would sort of balance that out. And I really respect your opinion in regards for it to it being need-based. I actually agree with that. But as I've spoken with staff, I think it's a bit challenging to legitimately make it a need-based scholarship due to the fact that we will need to ask for a lot of documentation and also verify the fact that the particular student that's getting the scholarship is in fact one of the ones with the highest need. If there is a way to accomplish that without really putting a lot of burden on staff, then I will be open to that idea. But from what I've gathered from my interactions and conversations with staff, it is the reason why we're doing a lottery system, the fact that we cannot really quantify with these what the need of each individual student is. So just my comment in regards to what you said, but I do acknowledge the need to make this a need base is just a little bit more challenging.
And what are your thoughts on the part-time students and not eliminating it for them?
Oh yeah, I like that. I do think that part-time students should also be considered, and if I didn't mention that in my motion, it was because of my assumption that that was already being taken into account. But
Yeah.
just to be clear, I think part-time status is definitely something that should be considered for these applicants.
Yes, I mean, as a part-time student myself, I also assumed that that was already part of the criteria. So if we didn't include it, maybe for clarification, Councilmember Barcena, we can amend the motion just to include that language as well. When it comes to the need base, based on the data and statistics of our city of Bell Gardens, I think all of our students are in need. So making a need base, I think, would be a moot point, considering that our community is underpoverished, underprivileged. So I think, these $500, it's not a lot, but I think it will help a student with the book, with making accommodations at home for Zoom University, getting maybe a desk, a chair, something of that sort, so that they can have a better working and study space. So that's why maybe I didn't acknowledge as well the need-based, because our community is need-based. So Councilor Barson, I don't know if you want to entertain the amendment to your motion.
Yes, please. Yes, please. If we can make that amendment as stated by the mayor.
Okay, so City Clerk, just to clarify, the motion made by Councilmember Barcena, we're gonna add the language that it also include, and this is just direction, so it's gonna come back to council for it to just include also part-time students, 3/4 full-time, so that we can have a wide span of students.
And the option to waive the GPA.
And yes, and that includes also the waiver and the direction for the top 20 students, 10 from high school incoming freshmen, and then the rest for 10 students, whether it be college or other programs. Okay, so with that, I'll take it.
Hold on real quick. What about new students? So if I'm a 43-year-old woman who's already going to school for the first time, I want to be able to qualify for the scholarship. We should also make it for first-time students with no GPA with the proof of registration as well. Let's add that too.
So just as clarification, the GPA, Mayor Pro Tem, is only at the end of the semester to verify that this fall semester, the students passed all their classes in essence.
So we are going to split it in two then?
That is for those that have a GPA allocated. So if they have a GPA from high school or from undergrad that they can pull, that could be added to that pool to be able to determine the top 10 from each program. They would fall under the high school category if they're barely approaching their BA, or if they're going for a graduate program, you would take the GPA from the previous program.
Thank you. Okay, sounds good to me, guys.
Okay, so we have a motion, we have a second. I'll take it to a roll call. Mayor Pro Tem?
Yes.
Councilmember Barcena?
Yes.
And yes for myself as well, so the motion carries. I would also like to give direction, Roseanne, for to pull $3,000 from the 161, and for that to be exclusively competitive scholarships. So for there to be a personal statement, an opportunity for them to look at the student holistically, maybe not so much a GPA, but to look at their extracurriculars, what they have to offer. So we'll do exclusive competitive scholarships under the 3,000, and I would want the awards to be 3 scholarships of $1,000. And hopefully I could get support for that.
I'm sorry, is
Mayor.
that a motion that you need to second, or is that just
Yes.
general direction? Okay, I'll second that motion.
Okay, and I'll take that to a roll call. Mayor Pro Tem. Mayor
Yeah.
Pro Tem.
I said yes.
Oh, sorry. Councilor Barcena.
Yes.
And yes for myself as well. Motion carries. Thank you. Thank
Mayor
you.
Cortez- Mayor Cortez, if I could just ask for some clarification here for staff on both of those items. So on the motion on the agenda item and then the direction on the scholarship. Would you like, based on that information, would you like staff to come back one more time with the specifics of, initially we were receiving approval. So I think what we're looking at this point is we will come back with a second go at this with the details that were just approved by the council for actual final approval.
I think we would only need to come back for the second item as to reallocate monies. We need, oh, actually, no, we had the 3 votes. So I would only like to see maybe the criteria come back for the second one, but it's a no rush item. We can sit down and try to develop that criteria, the personal statement prompt, panel, et cetera. But I think for the first one, we're ready to move unless my colleagues feel otherwise, just so that we can expedite this and our students can receive the money as school has started for many.
Did we talk about the 250 not being split? No, right? Can we put it so that they can get a one-time check versus them having to come back?
Mayor Pro Tem, the motion already carried with the split of the 250.
So can we make an amendment? I mean, it's 250 for them to come back again. We're exposing our kids. There's a pandemic, and we can just give them a $500 and they don't have to re-expose themselves to City Hall. I think that would be beneficial.
So the reasoning behind the 250 split is to verify that the students pass their classes. So again, the GPA is going to be taken into consideration for the fall semester only. From what I understood, Roseanne, correct me if I'm wrong, and that is to motivate and encourage our students to pass all of their classes this upcoming fall semester. So then the money would be allocated after the verification of GPA or the waiver.
Mayor, yes, that is correct. And staff feels that we would not have to require the student to come back. Some of them might be away studying. They could email us their grade point, their grades, grade point average, and then we can just cut the check. So they wouldn't have to reapply. We would already have them automatically, and it's just a matter of verification. But they would not
So they
have to
wouldn't come in to pick up a check.
No, we would automatically mail it. We could make sure that they receive it as promptly as they receive their grades. We're guessing that they would go out somewhere around right after the first of the new year, if they're on a semester session.
That sounds good.
Okay, so with that, is council okay if our Parks and Recs director just moves forward with already implementing the program as opposed to having it come back in 2 weeks again?
Yes, I'm okay with that.
And I'm fine with that as well, Mayor Pro Tem.
That's fine.
Okay, thank you so much, Roseanne.
You're welcome, Mayor.
Your next item.
Thank you, Mayor Cortez. This item is a continuation from the last council meeting. This is regarding the services and funding agreement that the city has traditionally had with the Chamber of Commerce. What we've done is provided really 3 options here for the council. Option 1 being to continue funding the program through the fiscal year for the cost of $30,000, same as last fiscal year. Option 2 would be to amend the agreement, the existing agreement, to add 2 quarters going through December 31st, 2020, for $15,000. Obviously, it could be reevaluated again at that point in time, or to amend the agreement for the additional quarter going through September 30th. At the cost of $7,500. And with that, we've got Mike Salazar here, the executive from the chamber. I'll turn it over to Mike for his presentation.
Good afternoon again, City Council. This is Mike Salazar with the Bell Gardens Chamber of Commerce. Does anybody have our, oh, there we go. It looks like they're putting up the agreement. So this is a continuation of what we talked through last time. If we can go ahead and change to the next slide. Okay, so basically what we're looking to do throughout the rest of the year is a couple of things. So we're obviously going to continue our coffee connections weekly. We just recently put together a resource workshop that's happening on September 1st. That's going to be with Claudia Shaw from the SBDC. She's going to help some of our business owners attain either loans, grants, or any other resources that they need throughout this pandemic. Next thing that will be done is the state of the city. That's going to be based on the mayor's schedule because that's going to be something that we were able to put on, and we like to do that virtually. And then towards the end of the year, we've traditionally done our golf tournament the first Friday of December. So the other thing that we're looking to do, since a lot of these business owners are either very challenged for cash right now, we're not going to charge anybody that's a Bell Gardens business for any membership, nor any premium service. Like if we have a grand opening, if we have other marketing stuff that we are able to do, those are things that we're going to waive until the end of the year for. And then after that, we gave 3 projects to be determined by the city council of anything that may come up in between, now and the end of the year. That way we're able to change stuff. So say, for instance, in a couple of months, we get a vaccine for this virus and we want to go ahead and put on a Miss Bell Gardens pageant. That is something we're prepared to step in and do, immediately. Now also, this is something where it gives the council and the city to be able to come up with something else. It's like, hey, you know what? We have this idea that may work for our businesses. This is going to be something that you guys have the option to be able to choose. Maybe I could work with Gus and put something on. I know before the pandemic, we just had a job fair. Like, who's to say, a lot of these numbers are coming down on the COVID. We could be closer, to having, live events again. So other than that, that's pretty much a summary of our presentation. If you guys have any other comments, I'd open up to questions from the council. Thank you.
Questions from the council?
Mike, do you mind bringing back, or whoever's in charge of the presentation, can I see that that slide again? I have a question in regards to one of the items on there, if you don't mind, please. Thank you. The question I have is in regards to the free membership to all Bell Gardens businesses. Mike, can you tell me what the value of that membership is? How much do you usually charge, and how long does a membership last?
Between 200 and 250, depending on the size of the business. And that comes with many other different things. We help with their marketing if they need to put together a promo video, if they need to put together some signage for we create all the artwork and stuff like that for them. So the value of that is way over the $200 mark. Is the reason why we price it at that is because it's something where it's that $200 mark is priced like that because that gives the business owner an opportunity to really become a part of the chamber and get their foot in the door. Now, as you heard in all these other testimonials, anybody that has really come in here and really put in the work has seen their business grow time and time again, because we have such high standards, and we want to make sure that our members are very successful. Now, did we reach out to all our membership? No, I've been having to deal with other stuff, family issues. Recently, I recently had to take my dad to the hospital and had to deal with that throughout the past week. It has been very challenging, and all in between that, I have Zoom classes for the kids and all that. But even through all that, we're still able to maintain a high level of service towards our members, and it shows within our organization.
Thank you, Mike. So would a local business be able to join the chamber until December 31st for free? And if they join during that period of time, how long does the membership last?
That membership is good for 1 full calendar year.
So if they join anytime now, would it be over at the end of the year? Or would it count for the next year?
It's good for 1 calendar year.
Okay.
So if they join today, August 24th, it is good until August 24th of 2021.
Thank you.
So if they joined on the very last day, December 31st, 2020, it's going to go until 2021. And that's something we're willing to commit to. That.
How many members do you have currently?
Right now, we're about 125. We do have a lot of members that are from Bell Gardens, a lot of small businesses. We also have some that are, the bigger companies, like some of them are like, the Spectrum, the Southern California Edison, the gas company, Metropolitan Water District. They may not necessarily be, stationed here in Bell Gardens, but they also service the area of Bell Gardens.
Is this the Bell Gardens residents that have businesses? How many do you know how many members you have that are Bell Gardens, from Bell Gardens?
I would say at least half of them. At least half of them are going to be Bell Gardens business owners. You had a lot of the testimonials that were basically from Bell Gardens that are either business owners here and residents. So it's a combination of the two. The toughest thing and the challenge is a lot of these business owners are too wrapped up trying to make ends meet. So we're working on trying to close that gap or be able to get those other businesses that may not necessarily know about that to be able to come in to join our chamber and join our network to be able to grow their business. So that's something where maybe some of the council members, if some of the businesses that may not be members of the chamber, this is a perfect opportunity for them to come in and have that opportunity to grow their business.
Thank you. I have no further questions.
Mike, I'm very supportive of the Chamber of Commerce. As you know, I do believe that small businesses are the backbone of America. But I do want to ask you, is there an alternative stream of income for the chamber?
Well, half of the income of the chamber comes from our events. So when we have our State of the City, our golf tournament, our fireworks stand, those are all different types of events that usually, cover at least half of our expenses. Now, due to the pandemic, we haven't been able to do that. So we've been able to do certain things, but not everything. Now, as time, heals whatever wounds that we've had as far as the lost income financially, once we're able to go back, the way we were, we'll be able to, create that income much, much, much quicker.
Mm-hmm. Is there a premium for non-Bell Gardens businesses?
Yeah, the highest premium rate that we do for the utility companies or bigger corporations are $500.
Good. Well, thank you so much. I'm very supportive of the chamber. I have to say that at the very beginning of my time with the chamber, I saw Jahira, right, from Park Lane Jewelry, who was pregnant and was bringing her son. And I thought that was very nice of you to be welcoming of women as well. It's very rare to see that, unfortunately, even at this day and time. So thank you for being welcoming of all businesses.
Yeah, and the other thing with Yahida, she's one of the few that sometimes, she may not have a sitter, so we still welcome them, and they still come with their kids, and everybody's still welcome there. The kids are well behaved. That's something that we don't demonize or turn down, because that person's making the effort to work to become better, and that's something we've never ever turned any of our members down for that.
Congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you, Council. So if you can look at your agenda packets, there's 3 different motions again, 3 different suggestions in terms of the action to be taken tonight. Mayor Pro Tem, if you're speaking, you're muted.
Yes, I'd like to make a motion to adopt a resolution for funding of an agreement for fiscal year 20 to 2021 between the City of Bell Gardens and the Bell Gardens Chamber of Commerce.
Okay, and I would like to make a motion to adopt the resolution number 2020-68 to amend the current agreement and extend the term for an additional 2 quarters, thus ending the services and funding agreement on December 31st with the ability to extend to the end of the fiscal year.
I would like to second the motion of the Mayor Cortez.
Okay, seeing that we have a first and a second, we'll take this to a roll call. Mayor Pro Tem,
Yes.
Councilmember Barcena,
Yes.
and yes for myself as well. And just to add to that, so the motion carries, and also just Mike, I do notice that you have the 3 city council projects to be determined. If you can just run those through our community development and city manager, or we'll bring them back to discuss them with all of council, please. Thank you.
Thank you.
City manager, moving on to the next item.
Thanks again, Mayor Cortez. So this next item is staff's recommendation to adopt the attached resolution and approve the tentatively agreed upon side letter with the Police Officer Association. The city has been out of contract with the Police Officer Association since July 1 of 2019. So about 14 to 16 months. What this agreement does is it goes back and covers those time periods when fiscal times were actually good, and it does so in a way that is of no cost to the city. It also moves in a forward direction over the next 6 months and achieves cost savings during that time period. It also allows both parties to come back to the table in the January-February timeframe to reevaluate the city's finances at that point in time. And just some of the bullet points on this, again, it would be a 21-month agreement. We would be looking at a temporary reduction of base salary of 7.5% from the salaries. They would receive a comp time amount that is not able to be cashed out during this fiscal year. So we would have cost savings or cash savings during this fiscal year at this point. We'd also increase some of the vacation and comp time bank balances because we're not allowing those things to be cashed out to the same degree that they otherwise would be allowed to be done. And also, this is a deal that we believe, if agreed to by council, this would be agreed to with the Police Officer Association. It ends the negotiations at this point in time for about a 21-month period of time, as stated. And I think staff is very supportive of this deal. We spent a lot of time working on this, and we're working with the other labor groups as well. But this is a deal that achieves the short-term savings that we're trying to achieve, and also gives both parties another bite at the apple in 6 months. We'll realistically start talking again in about 4 months. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions, and our Director of Administrative Services is here to answer questions as well.
Is there any questions from the council? Okay, hearing none, I'd like to move to approve the recommendations provided by staff. May I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Councilmember Barcena, and I'll take this to a roll call. Mayor Pro Tem?
Yes.
Councilmember Barcena?
Yes.
And yes for myself as well, so this motion carries. City Manager, discussion item number 11.
Thank you, Mayor Cortez. This item, as you can tell by some of the public comments, is a big ticket item that's out there currently. It's regarding our existing commercial eviction moratorium. So by way of background, the city instituted a commercial eviction moratorium back in March, prior to the county creating a moratorium. At that time, we were trying to provide some protection there for the business community that actually rents their space. We weren't sure if the county was going to create such a moratorium or not, so we got ahead of the curve, from a well-intended perspective. Our moratorium, one of the key pieces to our moratorium, there's really 2 pieces. One of them is that it currently applies to small businesses, so it wouldn't include large corporations such as Petco. So it's for small businesses, and also it has a 3-month payback period. So at the time the moratorium would end and a renter, a tenant would be required then to pay back the monies, any monies that they had not paid during the moratorium, they would only have 3 months to pay it back. As you heard from some of the residents and community members earlier, the county's ordinance actually allows for a much longer payback period of 12 months. I believe initially the county was at 6 months and then increased it to 12 months subsequent. And so that does put our ordinance at somewhat of a difference with the counties, in that payback being 3 months versus 12 months. And so this is really here as a discussion item, as there's been a lot of discussion, I think, among council with residents. We heard it tonight as well. And so we'll open it up at this point for discussion. Those are the basic facts. I guess one final piece would be that our ordinance ends on October 31st, whereas the county currently ends on September 30th. So ours goes longer than the county's. Shorter payback period, but the county could always extend theirs at some point in the future. So happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Mike. I do want to thank you. I know we've been dealing with an issue with the business. I want to thank Assemblywoman Garcia's office for helping this business owner try to troubleshoot through different hiccups. I did receive a call last weekend, and our city manager and also our different staff have been working on this matter as of last weekend. So I do want to thank you for all the work, Mike, that you've put into this subject. I do want to explore, in terms of this moratorium, the extending it for the 12-month payback period, but also explore to change the effective start date to back in March, subject to different legalities.
Thank you so much, Alejandra. Real quick, I just want to thank you so much, Mike, for adding this item to the agenda that I requested on Thursday evening. I know it's been very critical, and Juan Marin had been trying to get a hold of the entire council for about 2 weeks. So I'm really glad that we were able to get a hold of him. But most importantly, Gus, he mentioned that you were like an angel, that that you helped him very much and that you guided through him. So yes, I do agree with the recommendation that staff has guided us through to extend this to the 12 months so that it could be back until March and it could be effective then. So I'd go ahead and also second that motion.
I'd like to make a comment just for our audience. I just hope that everyone can see that the council is very supportive of things that benefit our residents. In this case, this moratorium that we're dealing with. I want to elaborate a little bit on how we got here. I think it's great that we're looking at this again because it allows for the opportunity for us to improve something that we did. But just keep in mind that the moratorium that we put in place initially was somewhat innovative in its time because we wanted to get ahead of the curve and provide the protection for our residents, right? This is before the county moratorium came out. And this is when you start seeing that sometimes things are not that simple for us council members. Sometimes when we try to do things right and be innovative, we end up realizing that we sort of jumped the gun. And I think that's what happened with this moratorium. As soon as the county moratorium came out with the protection of 12 months, then we realized, oh my God, we should have just waited a little longer. And then that moratorium would have applied to us automatically. So this is a great example of how sometimes it's not that easy to make these decisions where we want to do what's right for the public, but now we're found in a situation where we have to find out if we're going to be able to modify this moratorium in a way that it protects you for 12 months for the entire period that we came up with it. So as you guys see, we're going to make that motion to continue to look into this, but we don't know if we're going to be able to pull it off, but we definitely have the intention to do so.
Thank you, Councilmember Barcena, for that comment. I think very well put, and it made complete sense that we were trying to be innovative, trying to pass these protections as soon as possible for our business owners. Now we had some shortcomings, so we're coming back, revising the items. Mr. Marin, I know he emailed us about last council meeting with the proposition, and our staff had been looking into it, and then this weekend they reached out to us With regards to his specific situation, I didn't want to name him for privacy reasons, but that's the business owner that we've been dealing with. But that is excellent insight, Councilmember Barcena, that, we need to be a little bit more cautious. And at the same time, I think we did something good for our community at the time being. So with that, I think we have a first and a second, a motion on the floor. So I'll go ahead and take that to a roll call. Councilmember Barcena.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Flores.
Yes.
And yes for myself as well. So Mike, does that provide enough clarification for the direction given?
Yes, Mayor Cortez. So we'll work with our legal counsel to bring back an ordinance that adjusts the payback amount for time from 3 months to 12 months. Obviously, we've got some legal issues to just work back towards to see if we can make that effective from the start date of the ordinance or not. But that's what the direction clearly was from the council. So that would be the goal that we're looking for at this point in time. And if that's not the case, we'll bring that back to council.
Thank you.
Thank you, City Manager. With that, we conclude all of our discussion items. We're moving on to public participation on non-agenda items. City Clerk, I believe we have one caller and one email.
Yes, we do, Mayor. Apologize for that delay. The members of the public will now have the opportunity to speak on non-agenda items. Please state your name to the record before addressing your comments to the mayor and council members. Each speaker and email reading is limited to 3 minutes, subject to an overall 30-minute time period. Email comments will be read out loud after all speakers have been heard. The first speaker and that requested to be called is Jaime Lopez. So I'll go ahead and place that call.
Hello?
Hi, is this Mr. Lopez?
Yes, you can.
This is Jane Halstead with the City of Bell Gardens. I'm here with the City Council. We'd like to hear your comments. You have 3 minutes to speak. Please announce your name and go ahead and start your comments.
Hi, my name is Jaime Lopez. Good evening to everyone. I'd like to know where City Council members in the 40th Congressional District stand in terms of Black Lives Matter. I understand that the council has previously made comments acknowledging racial injustice and that some may have made references to Black Lives Matter in previous meetings. So tonight I'd like to ask each member of the council, including the city manager, whether or not you can each publicly state whether you support the Black Lives Matter movement or not. I understand you don't have to answer non-agenda items, but I also know that the Brown Act doesn't prohibit you from expressing an opinion of solidarity. Also, I'd like to ask, if possible, whether you can indicate what you have read, preferably a book, that would indicate to your residents that you actually know what Black Lives Matter is about. Thank you, and I yield my time.
Thank you for your comments, sir. Have a good evening. Thank you.
And then the next comment is an email, so I'm going to go ahead and read it. To the City of Bell Gardens Council meeting to be heard. I am making an informal request. City Clerk, I think you need to mute.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I am making an informal request at this time on behalf of the residents of BG, specifically surrounding the Bell Gardens High School. Though I am apologizing for not being present, I'm requesting for the city to permanently remove all excessive and unnecessary no parking painted red zones in front and around the high school. Due to the pandemic, we are also experiencing a higher than normal volume of residents working from home and more vehicles stationed outside of our residence, inside and outside of driveways. This includes modifying the speed humps and removing the portions of the speed humps where the vehicles park along the curbside. Several residents and elderly have fallen, causing minor injury. This will also reduce city liabilities. I'm requesting that the City of Bell Gardens and the BG Sanitation Department to require all residents to place the city-issued garbage cans and recycling cans in the street. This eliminates any risk management, reduces civil liabilities, and reduces physical injuries upon your employees when they have to move them themselves. I'm requesting that the city to install additional no parking signage assigned to specific street cleaning days, no parking. Residents and our guests and family and visitors are being cited unnecessarily when no proper signage is posted. If you have any questions, you may correspond via email and via contact number. And with that, that concludes our public comments. I will go ahead and close public comment at this point. And now we're going to move on to council member comments. Councilmember Barcena.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. And thank you everyone that submitted comments today. I want to say that I want to thank Mr. Marin for establishing communication with our staff and for working together with community organizations in order to improve what we have to offer as a council. I think we do a better job when we have the involvement of the public, of the business owners, and our organizations. So I think it's a great experience to be able to be part of that. Instead of us just sitting here delegating on anything, we love to have the input of the community. So thank you for that, Mr. Marin, and also East Yards. I do have a response for Mr. Jaime Lopez, his question in regards to Black Lives Matter. I stand side by side, Black Lives Matter. I think this group is on the right track. Unfortunately, there is a lot of media out there that attempts to discredit the cause and the reason why Black Lives Matters exist. And that's something that everyone should be aware of. There is a constant battle between organizations such as Black Lives Matter and other organizations that that focus on disrupting our peace, that focus on negatively impacting the efforts of minority groups that are trying to progress and improve their lives. This struggle will continue forever, and we need to make sure we're on the right side of history. And I think that, as far as I know, in this council, to my knowledge, everyone is supportive of Black Lives Matter. I mean, they're welcome to express their opinion otherwise, but this is a topic that I'm extremely passionate about. And, in a community like Bell Gardens, where we have a 98% Latino population, we are people of color. We're not Black, but we are people of color. We're a minority. A lot of the times, some of our own people may think that we're detached or we're not part of this struggle, of this minority struggle. But we're right next to Black Lives Matter. In terms of police brutality and deaths, we are number 2. Latinos are number 2. You can look at the statistics. You can look at the studies. This isn't a secret. This is actual factual information that we are victims of police brutality. In terms of our police department, I have never been made aware, or I have never found anything to point to our police having that type of issue. So I'm happy to say that. I'm very proud to say that. But at the same time, I don't want to deviate from the issue that Black Lives Matter brings, that there is a problem across the entire nation when it comes to police brutality. So I'm fully supportive of Black Lives Matter, and I'm happy to be able to say that. And I'm glad that somebody is speaking on that. So thank you, Jaime Lopez. And that is the end of my comment.
Thank you, Councilmember Barcena. Mayor Pro Tem.
Hello, everybody. I'd like to first thank Roseanne. Thank you so much for going into detail with the scholarship program. I know it's not easy, but thank you so much for your due diligence and creating this. Also, Gus, thank you so much for helping our residents out. Mr. Marin has been, basically harassed and has been dealing with a predatory landlord, which I would identify as a predatory landlord. And it's very unfortunate that a lot of the businesses here in our city are, being treated with this disrespect and this level of harassment. But make no mistake that your council is here to protect you. As soon as Mr. Marine and I had a conversation, I did prioritize. We had several conversations over the weekend, and that's not to say that the rest of the council members did or did not. I'm just telling you what I did. And today we can prove that aside of our differences, we have the fundamental, alignment that we do want to help our residents. And what Marco said is very, very true. When you talk to all of us, you put us in a position where we are now aligned because we all have the same information. So thank you so much for facilitating that on your own behalf. And thank you to Laura Cortez from East Yars, who has been guiding Mr. Marin in various different formats. I know that she's a huge advocate and community, community leader here in our city, and we're very grateful to have you, Laura. Thank you so much. Before I continue, I want to just say that I'm very saddened for the people of Beirut. I want to send my condolences to our brothers and sisters across in the Middle East and let you know that, we're here for you too. And we're so sorry for what's happening there. And we want to acknowledge the cries and the difficulties that are happening across in the Middle East in the middle of a pandemic. It's like a nightmare. So I'm so sorry for that, but we're here for you. For my friend and mayor in the city of Bell, who's the first Muslim ever elected in the Southeast. He's been putting very strong Promethean efforts to help people across the Middle East. So if there's anything that you can do to help out, please reach out to him, and he would be more than happy to accept your assistance. Also, for the gentleman that gave us a call at the beginning back in June, I gathered some of the strongest leaders here in our cities, our surrounding cities. It was Cudahy, Lingwood, Bell, Maywood, School Board, Southgate, and other cities, and we took a stand against, police brutality or any of the difficulties that our Black and Brown brothers have gone through, because we are the Black, Brown brothers. And we took a picture in front of the Sella Strong mural that was painted by a local artist. And just in case you didn't see it, here are all the elected officials. And again, it was, I was very motivated, and it was me who brought these leaders together to take a stand together and to talk about, which book I recently picked up, Policing the Planet, which discusses the tactics that led us to creating the Black Lives Matter movement. So, we in the Latino community are not all people of color. We have to remind ourselves that white Latinos exist and check our privilege when it comes to this issue. And I'm always ready to learn more. So I'm not going to act like I'm an expert. I don't know everything, but I am trying really hard. And I will continue to educate myself and become more of an advocate and leader for my community across the board, regardless of their color. So with that, thank you so much, staff, and see you guys next week. 2 weeks.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. As far as my comments go, I do want to remind everyone that we do have a census caravan that will be taking place this week. Please look for us, come out, get some informational literature, of course, with COVID safety measures in place. What we're really trying to promote is we have maybe about 38 days, Hylas, 37, 38 days left to be counted. The city of Bell Gardens is around 60%, so nowhere near enough. We're trying to have everyone counted in the city of Bell Gardens. So if you know a neighbor, a friend who has not filled out the census, if they need any assistance, they can always contact us. We'll be disseminating more information, but we do need everyone to be counted. Please fill out your census. It takes more than 5 minutes. No more than 5 minutes. It's rather simple. With regards to the call that we received, Councilmember Barcena is correct. This council stands for our minorities. This council stands for our people of color. And this council stands next to the Black Lives Matter movement. As Mayor Pro Tem said, we might not be the most educated, but we're here listening to our residents and what is important to them. In terms of reading, I don't do much reading these days. To be honest, I do read the news, but I do read a lot of case books. So if that counts, I've been diving fully into our different amendments and our different cases where there has been disparities in our judicial system. And then lastly, I just want to thank staff for all the hard work that takes place every single time. And I'm going to sound like a broken record every single meeting, but I'm truly appreciative of everything, especially our city manager, who has spent countless hours meeting with us this week. I've seen him come in and go out of meetings, whether it be with us or other staff. Sometimes he doesn't even have time to eat. And we always have to be reminding him and pushing him to do that. So we are very appreciative of our city manager, as well as all of our directors. Without your leadership, this wouldn't be possible. Chief, thank you for the work done day in and day out with our police officers. We have a great police department, and we will continue to champion that because our police officers are different. And I want to continue believing that, and I want to continue believing that they're here for the community. So I stand with all of our community, and with that, I would like to conclude this meeting at 7:50.
Thank you all. Have a good night.